All right. So, Scott, we are excited you're here, and we're just curious what type of conversations are occurring, among the coaching community at the high school level and with the athletic directors, that you interact with.
Yeah. So when the governor shut down all the schools, so what that basically means is we have till June 30th to get our schools in for the school year. That means your snow dates, any dates that you've missed. Okay. So what they do is the PIAA didn't do anything till the Department of Education made a decision. That way they didn't have to be the fall guy and everyone be upset with them. So they waited till the very end and then they took the same basically nothing will start until July 1 on school property because that's what the PDE said school is closed until June 30th. So that's their way of saying we're not even going to entertain anything in June. We're just going to start and look at everything in July. So once July hits, and hopefully by then we're in the green, um, then that's when things will open up. So I've been telling my coaches just to, we're doing Zoom sessions with our kids. We're doing individual stuff. Uh, Basically, everyone's just kind of it's almost like and when you and I played athletics and Dom and the rest of us when we all did when we were kids. You have to be self motivated now, and once things do resume, you're basically it's going to be who's the kid that did the most, which kid is more talented than others, because they're the ones that are going to shine in the very beginning. Um, So I'm just keeping our coaches patient to keep plugging away as if I'm an optimist. So I'm like, I believe it's going to open. We just had, Governor Wolf just said, and the Department of Education just said last Friday that they strongly believe that school will open up. Now, I don't know what that looks like, but I'm assuming we'll have our athletics. I just don't know how it'll look with fans. I don't know if there'll be a screening process for our kids. Nothing has changed with our physical paperwork as far as we have to add this. Nothing like that has come out. So I think that July 1st, the way things are hopefully heading, that we're going to be rolling and we're going to get started, and then we're going to be able to open up our fields and start doing things. And that's when, if that's the case, and we get the green light, then I'd reach out to all you guys and say, start doing your things, do as much as we can with our kids to give them some kind of opportunity that we've been neglected because of the current situation. But the one thing, if you guys could email me, I get the one of you look at the positive spin of what's occurred since this has occurred. My gosh, the webinars that I'm getting and the free things that have been sent to me at the high school level that are good for all levels. And I'm talking every sport, aquatics, field hockey, because I've been flooding them to our high school coaches. But a lot of this stuff is great information that could be used for you guys. And if you guys email me, then I'll set up a group list. And I'm getting stuff like 3 times a day from different leadership, drills, webinars, and normally these things would be big money and they're giving it to it for free. So I'm basically blasting my coaches with information on, hey, or look at this. Here's a leadership one. Positive Coaching Association has been sending me stuff. So whenever I get that information, I flood it out to my coaches. And for one, it opens discussion. Two, it gives hope that we will get started again. So my email's online. If you go on the school website, it's on there. And if you guys just shoot me an email, then anytime I get my stuff, I will gladly put it your way and keep that way I can keep you guys informed of when I know stuff from PIAA, when I know stuff from the high school, what's coming our way and what we're allowed to do. Uh, that's what I'm hoping.
Great.
Because
Thanks.
as soon as we get the green light to do it, my fields are going to be open. As soon as we do that, our fields are going to be open for use. And for you guys that, I don't know all your situations with a number of kids. I kind of know what field hockey has because I see what Bree has done when she's run things. But I know with like soccer and baseball, I don't know who says we have to follow the little league? Who says we can't if you have enough teams within ourselves? Just do our own thing like we used to do when we were kids, like just to get our kids playing each other. So I'm all game for that too. Of maybe we can't be with an organization at this time, but our county and our school district is allowing us to utilize our facilities. Then let's start doing stuff with our facilities because we have enough to use where we can spread the wealth for our people and you guys.
So right now, though, that's basically as of July 1, you're saying the
Yeah.
facilities are open. Okay.
Yeah. Look, trust me, it pains me every day when I drive past Lower Dauphin and I see people running on our track and our stuff's locked up like Fort Knox. I wish it was. I wish it was open. But,
Yeah.
no.
Any questions of Scott?
Yeah, I kind of have a question, I think. Scott, so as of right now, July 1st is the earliest that things could open, but that could change too, right?
Correct. Yes, that could change. Yep.
Okay. So if rec organizations haven't already requested, they would still have to request field use the traditional way?
Yeah, I guess that's what they're asking us to do in the district. Hmm.
Okay, so if anyone's at least wants to get themselves in line to possibly play post July 1, and you don't already have your request in and approved, which you probably do, but just in case you don't, because of the discouragement around all this stuff,
Yeah.
make sure you get it in.
We were told, we did send ours in, and we were told they can't even approve it right now.
Right. That is
So
correct.
it's just like it's sitting in a queue waiting for when they do get the green light, but they can't even like process it at this point in time.
Hmm.
So
And I think too, once we do get the green light too, like there's obviously ways where we can be socially distancing while we're doing skill work, and I've seen other people do it. Like I know in Cumberland Valley where I live, my kids they go to this workout and it's at some kid's house, and the guy that's running it is not affiliated with the school, but he has the kids like they're like 5 yards apart from each other, like everything. And I've watched it because he puts it on live stream just so the other kids can watch the ones that aren't there and say, okay, I can do these drills. And they're just basically, it can be done. I'm watching it be done. I'm watching these kids work out. I'm watching these kids at least get, what we're looking for them to get some kind of basic skill set without really being in contact with each other. And you can still pass a ball 5 yards apart from each other in field hockey and soccer and things like that. So what I want to do for you guys, since of our current situation, like for baseball, if like let's say we're full going in August, then let's play on the baseball field. We got lights. We have lights at both fields. Let's get it going there. As far as field hockey, let's do as many games as we can at halftime of our game just to give the kids some kind of exposure, just so they're same with soccer too. I love when the little guys come at halftime of our games and play because it increases our concession stands and things like that. But it just gets, I'm reading, and the reason I'm talking about this now is because I've been reading some of the stuff our seniors have been saying. And the things they're talking about, their fondest memories and what they remember most is the youth kids and the rec kids coming up with them. And you'd think it'd be, the game-winning shot or anything like that. Nah, that's not what they're talking about. It's being perceived as these little guys are looking up to these people like, oh my gosh, these kids are amazing. They love that. Our soccer kids love going out at halftime with the soccer kids or before the game at pregame. Like those kind of things where we can just piggyback off each other, because our soccer field, and I could tell you this for field hockey as well, come 6 o'clock, that thing's vacant. If we don't have night games, that stuff's open. And I know it's not easy with the rec kids and younger kids to have facility usage, but it's available at night. And, that's an opportunity for you guys to, obviously baseball and softball, you have those fields with lights going on, as long as you can stomach it till November with the weather. But as far as hockey and soccer, that's available for you. No one requests our 322 turf field at night, never in the fall. They just, because I guess they assume that we got games every night and we don't. So that's another resource for you guys where you don't have to go too late, a 6 to 7 or a 7 to 8, but no one's on the field usually at that time. So take advantage of it.
Do we need to have someone there? Like, what is the regulation? Like, Coach Price would always unlock it if she's there, but like, does she have to stay for the whole practice then, or?
No, absolutely
Okay.
no.
Okay.
No. Mm-mm. No, I would encourage. Honestly, I love as an AD. I love when I drive by that field and I see it filled up with a million kids,
Okay.
and I'm all for that. So I'm not going to put any roadblocks or anything like that.
Scott, how do they find out what is booked and what isn't booked? Can you help?
Yeah, if you go to once we get going, if you go to Schedule Star, which is on our athletic webpage, it's not the best user friendly, and but it will have a daily calendar, and you can look at what's going on. It doesn't necessarily have every field, but it tells you every high school sport, and that will tell you what field's open. Because like I know my soccer coaches both like to go after school. I know Bree likes to go after school unless there's a later game. So that means you're probably looking at 3-4 days a week. Things are open. So that's look at Schedule Star, or just reach out to me. Reach out to Linda or me in the athletic office. We can gladly tell you this is what's available and this is what's not. And Terry, I know I'm going to overstep my boundaries here. With the current situation, I know we raised our fees and stuff like that. And, are we going to really charge our own people at this point? I think that'd be something to discuss maybe at our athletic committee meeting, just for, I know that's policy and stuff like that, but to not charge our people currently because of where we're at.
Let's put that on the agenda, Scott. I agree.
No. Look, I'm willing to work with you guys with everything. You're our feeder program. You guys are everything to us. So I want to give you as much as I can for you guys to utilize, and resources that I can, and encourage our coaches and our kids to be involved with the recreational part, because you're our future. And, this is one community and we're feeding off each other. We don't have the luxury of some private schools that can go out and grab kids. And as far as swimming, I feel for you guys, although I was happy today to look, and it was a concrete mess, but it's work.
Yeah.
Something's happening, and I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
But I was talking to Greg Fastrich 2 days ago, and I'm like, do you realize some of our kids will go through their whole high school career with maybe 1 year of a swimming pool?
If they even have that, I know.
Yeah, without us not using someone else's.
Well, for those of us that live right across from that project, the jackhammering starts early in the morning and it goes till late in the evening. So I can attest that there's lots of work going on over there right now.
Oh,
Don, we're going to thank you for monitoring that project.
They start at 5 every morning.
If you've ever built a house, and if at the end of the day you go over and you drop off a 6-pack, you just find that the work just keeps moving. Not in the morning, but at the end of the day. So.
Well, and I will add one other comment, and Scott, I've worked with you in a couple different capacities, both through Little League and now with the high school booster program, and I can attest. I mean, you're great to work with, and you always listen to what we have to say. How can I help? And you've always been great in terms of helping us work through a solution and find things that work for us and work for you guys as well. So thank you for that.
Oh, I appreciate that. I was supposed to throw out the first pitch for girls softball this year, and then I blew my quad out, and then the coronavirus. So.
Well, I think you'll be in high demand if folks on this line are able to get their season started again. You may get to throw out quite a few first pitches this year.
That would be awesome. I would love to.
Well, Scott, thank you.
My pleasure.
Can I just ask a question, Dom, relative to Scott's comments about, we know under the aegis of Hershey Little League, not Hershey, Little League International, there can't be any organized baseball, right, for various reasons of affiliation and so forth. But what about the idea of throwing together just, I guess, pickup games is what they might be called, but
yeah. I mean, we've talked about it. I mean, even though we're Little League affiliated, I mean, we've talked about doing. I mean, at the at the core, we're an in-house league, right? So we're not playing Lower Dauphin and Palmyra and whatever else. I mean, we're playing all our games in-house against each other. So, we've talked about the idea if we can start in, July, mid-July, or even August, just playing right through, fall ball, to be honest with you. So, start in July and August. And if we don't have all-stars and we don't have, the Little League World Series and the tournaments and things like that to play in, we could literally play, all summer, to the extent that people are here in town. So, that is an idea that we're talking about. And, again, just then rolling it right in the fall ball in September. Again, once we get started, we'll see what that looks like. But, I think that's our intention, is to try to play as much as possible once, I think there's a lot of pent up demand. So I don't think we'll have any problem getting, kids to play. It's just, once we're ready to cross over and get back out there again.
We just got to get creative, Dom. You can have the Hershey Little League World Series. The kids would love that. And
that age group that was really banking on going, Dom, there's some families, they put down some serious money for houses up there, etc.
Yeah.
So if there would be a local version of that we just made it big and special, it might help, reduce the wound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any sense?
We don't have a hill that's big enough to go sliding down on a cardboard box. That's the only thing we're missing.
Jake Park does.
And I have a question in general for people. And Scott, I know you said you've seen, some things done now that are being successfully socially distanced.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what I'm hearing, though, from everybody's what they've said at the kickoff, and I don't know if anybody wants to elaborate, is everybody planning to wait fully till the green for any sort of training or activity, or are your organizations considering in the yellow doing some socially distanced training?
So I'll go first. So this is Dom Argento from Little League. I will tell you, don't talk to your insurer. If you talk to your insurer, they'll tell you.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to So Zack, I think everybody knows who you are, but maybe just an introduction and your perspective from your role, what you're
Sure.
seeing.
Yep, I'm the assistant director, Derry Township Parks and Recreation. So right now, all of our parks and trails are still open. It's just the playgrounds, basketball courts, athletic fields, tennis courts. All those are closed down until at least most of those until we get back to green. In terms of tennis courts, that's probably the first one. If we would get back into yellow, that might be the first one that we would consider reopening. But the rest of them will probably have to wait until we're back into that green phase. So yeah, I mean, obviously we're in the same camp as everybody else in terms of we're going to follow the guidelines of the governor, and obviously our insurance companies and everyone's kind of in the same boat as far as that goes of what they're being advised to do and what guidelines and restrictions they're being advised to follow. But I've heard you guys talking about seasons and field availability, so that's something certainly we're willing to work with all the organizations whenever that picture finally becomes clearer. When we'll be able to reopen, getting you guys all the field availability that you're going to need for the season. And obviously nobody's jumping in front of you at this point. We're not taking any bookings, and we're certainly going to take care of all the Derry Township organizations. So our calendars are wide open. So whatever season we end up with here, we'll certainly be able to provide you guys with whatever facilities you need.
Super.
So just want to ask Zack a question. So Zack, Founders is, I guess, owned by Milton Hershey, but managed by the township?
It's a cooperative arrangement between the township, the school district, and Milton Hershey. So, but in terms of the scheduling, that's all taken care of through the township.
But who owns it?
It was Milton Hershey land that was again, it was ended up with a cooperative arrangement between all three of those
I mean,
entities.
the reason I'm asking is
Yeah.
Milton Hershey School, will have its own allowable activities in the different phases. Will if theirs is different than the townships or the school districts, would that put those fields out of reach?
I don't believe so. Milton Hershey historically has not requested those fields much at all. It usually most seasons we don't receive any requests from them at all to use those fields. So
I
and
just
actually,
I meant from a legal perspective.
legal, yeah, that's not something I can really speak to.
Okay. And the other thing I wanted to ask Zach is, has I think the township has done a few things virtually related to physical activity, or maybe I had that wrong, but is there anything that you've been doing virtually that the recreation organizations might be interested in tapping into?
Yeah, what we've been doing for the past handful of weeks at least, we every Tuesday and Thursday we kind of just put out some ideas on Facebook, anything from just family friendly activities to workouts and things like that. Just trying to get people some suggestions to stay active, um, of things like that. So yeah, every Tuesday and Thursday we've been putting out posts on our Facebook page.
Nice. Terry, do you want to comment a little bit about the Rec Org survey?
Yeah, and I'm not sure Zach will, know about the status of it, but Parks and Rec, along with the Joy Sports Foundation, has been working with Better Together on the state of play report related to taking a look at physical activity in Derry Township and seeing what kids are doing and what they like, what they'd like to see that isn't currently being offered, and that type of thing. And there's quite a bit of surveying that will go on related to that project. Ultimately, hopefully, produce a report that will provide some, guidance to folks on what they can do to better meet the physical activity needs of our township youth. The Zach, I believe, fairly recently, a rec organization survey was sent out by Becky Swikert to the 12 rec organizations, asking for them to just complete the survey so we could collect some baseline information about how many kids they're serving, what seasons they offer activities in, that type of thing. Do you have any awareness of that?
Yeah, I actually spoke to Becky this morning. I know that was sent out to the organizations on May 6th, and she put in there that she'd like to have them back by May 22nd. And as of this morning, she has not received a single response. So, I mean, we can certainly send it out again, but maybe some folks in their organizations, if they might want to send out some follow-up emails, kind of prodding people to participate if they're able to.
So, Terry, I'm not convinced everybody knows what Better Together and State of Play is. So, on just a real high level, it's an initiative to understand access to sports, available resources pre-COVID, right? So this all started before this, lockdown occurred. And we wanted to understand, do kids who want to play sports have access to play sports? And are there any barriers that might be getting in their way? And the model for this type of community effort comes from an organization,
Project Play, which is part of the Aspen Institute. They provided Better Together Derry Township is just a coalition of organizations and people in Derry Township that are focused on improving quality of life and health among township residents. And the State of Play project is one activity of that effort to do just as you said, Ann, figure out how we can get more kids active through sport. Obviously,
At
our
all levels,
yeah, at all levels.
intramural, club, etc., at all levels. And there are three bodies of people or constituents that we're trying to survey: leaders in the rec organization, youth, and parents. And so, Zach, it might make sense to do another pulse, and then this effort will help remind people to look for it, and have a better understanding of why we're asking folks to complete the survey.
Sure. Yep. We can definitely do that.
All right, super. So we had somebody join us, Mary Beth Andy Mack. Do you want to say hi?
Hey, it's Mary Beth.
Oh, hi, how are you?
Good, how are you guys? I'm
Good.
sorry, I totally forgot
That's
gardening,
okay.
and I just was digging and I realized what was going on, so.
That's okay. That's okay. So welcome.
Thank you.
So Joyce,
Well, could Mary Beth give us a?
Yeah. Mary Beth, want to give us a little bit of update in terms of your rec organization and what's going on in your world?
Well, I'm not sure if Paul Latham already did because we're from the same club.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right. He did. Thank you.
Well, I don't want to repeat everything and all that.
All right. So Joya Sports had a couple of things that we wanted to do an update on, and I am just going to do a quick screen share. And this was the agenda, and we're basically at the Joya Sport update. And want to talk about a couple of things that we have been working on and just give you that update. So last year was the first year that we introduced a Triple Impact Competitor Scholarship Award. We had a male and a female recipient earn a $500 scholarship. This year, we're in a really nice spot. PNC agreed to underwrite those scholarships. And we have 9 individuals who have applied, and we're going through the screening, and those recipients will be announced at the Senior Awards event at the end of May. So that's a positive. Like, woo, woo, woo. Let's hear that. And, all right, so then we're going to go. So our 2020 dinner was at the Milton Hershey property. They're shut down until June 30th. So our dinner is canceled, and we really thought best to cancel it versus reschedule, because once there's a green light, nobody wants to come inside, right? People want to be outside playing. So we have a tentative date for 2021, and that would be Monday, June 7th. Our typical sports sampling camp, because of the state of affairs, we had really looked at, could we wait to postpone it? And at the end of the day, the decision was, we're going to have to cancel. And Paul, you were one of the ones who said, when we get green, people are going to be craving for us to do things. And so we looked hard at, really, did we think we would be in a position to do it? And we really ended up saying no. But at our last board meeting, we actually had a lot of creative energy, and we are excited to announce that we are going to do a quarantine Olympics event on Memorial Day weekend. And I want to just talk a little bit about what that will look like, and how you can help, and if you have any ideas. So I have a question. Anybody ever do an event, go to an event where there was some type of scavenger hunt or challenge that you did via an app? Anybody ever participate in one of those? No. All right. So I have, and it was so much fun. And so at our last board meeting, I just shared what the event was. So there are about 125 of us. It was a corporate event. And basically, they turn the app on. So we tell you the app, we tell you the name of the game, and then it gets turned on. And our vision is, over Memorial Day weekend, there will be a small percentage of families that have their act together, and they'll go hiking, and they'll go find a lake, and they'll be outside. And then there'll be the rest of us who will be home. Right? And so the vision is we would play 4 rounds. And the rounds, we open up a round Saturday morning, open up around Saturday afternoon, 1 on Sunday, 1 on Monday, and then we announce the winners. And the like how this would work is we're looking at 2 apps we haven't landed, but the types of activities might be, take a picture of someone doing a wall sit, videotape someone doing push-ups, videotape toilet paper basketball, right? So we have like this massive list of ideas, and there is a family that has been doing quarantine Olympics. So if you Google it or if you're on TikTok, you can find it. And you'll see that every day they're posting these crazy events and they're having fun. And so our thought is right now, kids are craving like a competition, craving things to do. And we would underwrite it and there would be no cost, but people would have to register to gain access to what's the app we're using, what's the name of the challenge, etc. So I just want to pause because I want to get some reaction around the concept.
I like it. I think it's a good idea.
Thank you for going first, Scott, and for saying something positive.
I do. I know little simple things that we've done with some of our spring sports teams, and it seems like the girls' teams are more, into doing things. They've done simple things with just throwing the ball to a person and making it just like a prolonged, the same ball getting thrown to everyone. Just little things. We did a Meet the Trojans in the kitchen about a month and a half ago. It was dumb, but it kind of caught on. And the next thing you know, I have coaches and kids emailing me or sending me a video of them dancing in their kitchen. So I think kids would jump all over this.
So what we are thinking about doing is, right, so you have to pay for the app, and the more people to pay, the more it costs, right? And so our thought was to organize it by family. So what our ask would be, we will send you an email tomorrow that allows you to just cut and paste it and send it to your communities. Mm-hmm. And what we're going to suggest is households register and one person from a household download it. Mm-hmm. And what's really fun is once you get it rolling, like you snap your pictures and you're in the app, you can see the pictures. And it's really fun. We like the idea of like one household. So we tried to think of like if you had a single parent with one kid, or you have, a traditional family with 4 kids, how can you set it up so everybody can play? And the thought was, if the rec units market it and people compete and play as a household. So that is something we're pretty excited about, and we'll begin to market tomorrow. Folks have to register. So Terry set up a registration page, and there's no charge, but as you close, there is a little button there that says, if you'd like to donate, you can, not required. And the reality is the dinner is usually our only fundraiser a year, and we're not going to have that this year. So, but again, we didn't want to charge because we want people to play. But if people are playing and they're having fun, they could easily make a small donation. The other thing that we're working on is not fully materialized yet, is a virtual running series. So Scott Rogers is on our board. He's an avid runner. And we know there's a couple virtual running events that are popping up. Our thought again is, perfect world, we do this free or low cost and just do one race in June, one in July, one in August on an honor basis. Share your results, and then we would have prizes and recognition around, winners, but most improved. So we're just looking at, during the void, are there things that we can do to help fill the void? then the last thing that we wanted to share is normally at our dinner, we have a silent auction, and we raise money at our dinner that we used all throughout the year. And Donna Cronin graciously donated her beach house. So the beach house last year, somebody purchased at $3,500. And this year, what we were thinking is that maybe we would raffle it off and start the raffle over Memorial Day weekend and probably keep it open until tickets are sold or through the virtual running series. And again, it's a high ticket, but it's a very limited number of tickets. And normally when she rents it in season, it's $7,000. It sleeps 18 people. So those are just some of the things that we have in the works. And are really excited about the quarantined Olympics. So we heard from Scott. Anybody else concerned like, man, this is wonky, I don't think it'll work, that's a crazy weekend?
I mean, I think you'll always have those people that think that in, but I think it's a lot of fun for, a lot of families. So I think it's great of you guys to offer. I have on the running, the virtual running.
Yeah.
I don't know how far you are down the road, but just one other thought on that is I know a lot of them.
It's on the slide. That's it.
Well, I know a lot of times another way to do those virtual runnings instead of doing like 3 events is you sign up to run a certain number of miles over like a month or a 2-month period, which might be, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like that's kind of motivating that are playing sports or, because instead of just going out and running 3 miles, it motivates you to say, hey, I have to run 15 miles this week because this is what I committed to. So I don't know, just a thought on that.
Yep, I like it. Yeah, so the thought here is, could we create a really good, cool T-shirt, like outrun COVID,
yeah,
have COVID on the back of your shoe,
yes.
Like kick COVID to the curb, something that would be like, I want to wear this shirt because it really means resilience and give me my sport back.
I think that's a great thing because I do think, a lot of these races are getting the T-shirt.
Yeah.
Right.
And so, the other, if for your particular sport, there's a challenge you would love us to include, like, so swimming, you've done something fun, or soccer, you've done something fun, feel free to send the idea to me or Terry sooner rather than later, because we'll be building it out shortly. And, we have a massive list and we're just trying to figure out which fit like every household and, don't have, they're accessible regardless of your household. So that's what we had for today. If we had a call to action, our call to action would be maybe Zack, you re-trigger the survey to the rec leaders, and our rec leaders look for it. So again, that data is to go into our analysis and understanding for the state of play and our community needs on a really broad spectrum. And then the second call to action would be tomorrow, late day, we'll probably send you an email about the quarantine Olympics and ask you to forward that to your communities and put that on your social media. And, we would just love it if we had 100 households actually play that, that's 100 households that's actually, having fun over 4 days and, looking to be really, engaged and have some fun. So,
yeah, absolutely. Send that to us. We'd be happy to put that on our Facebook page, and we can get that in the Township e-news and any other channels we can. I think it's great.
Super. Yeah, we are pretty excited about it. I have an intern that just started with me on Monday. And for folks who don't know me, my business, I'm an executive coach and a mental performance coach. And my intern is majoring in sports psychology. And I'm like, okay, going to work on a game this week. But I promise next week we're doing, and I go, this really is a part of sports psychology because we're trying to make people fun, have fun and, get some endorphins. So she's been doing some really good work with it. So it's been nice to have her on board. So that's all that I had. Terry, other thoughts?
Just to reiterate, I guess, that since we're going to market this and promote it initially, well, to the recreation community, but then the broader community, but in the context of the recreation community, to the extent we get suggested activities from each organization, as you were saying, it'll probably perk up the ears of the respective rec organization, audiences to see an activity related to a sport that they're familiar with. And the only other thing is, at my age, I'm a little behind on the technology and comprehending and understanding it all. But based on Ann's description to me, which probably took longer than it should have taken, once you download the app, I mean, it's all self-directed. They keep score. It cumulatively it posts, everything, and it's really, it just takes your hand and holds it through the whole process. And if you got kids in your family involved, then it's very very self-directed and easy to follow. And
the only oversight is, right, so we set up a dummy one and I sent it to a couple of people, and so you have to do it, right? So let's say it was a video of you doing 5 push-ups. I took a picture of my cat, right? And I uploaded the cat. So as administrator, like the system will automatically give you the points for doing that task. As administrator, I have the right to kind of go, no, that's a cat. That's not a video of someone doing push-ups, right? So my family's going to be, what are you doing Memorial Day weekend, Mom? You're not with us. So we're trying to set it up so it actually is easy and doesn't require a lot of oversight. So, but we think it should be fun. And the challenge again is like, can we have it one app per household? Because if there's 5 people in the house and they download it 5 times, that's 5 uses, and they charge you on the total number of uses. And it's a good business to be in. I think I see a different future now.
And I guess the last thing I wanted to say, Ann, is just to thank Scott and Zack for joining us. We're really fortunate to have people like them in our community who are such advocates and champions for sports and recreational sports. And just wanted to thank them, and of course everyone who joined us today. We miss seeing you and seeing the kids out in the fields, and we'll look forward to green.
Yeah. So I'll just
Appreciate
say,
that. It's great for me to talk to other people too.
I'll just share in closing, what people need is hope and optimism, right? And our kids need that, right? So something to look forward daily, weekly, monthly. And, it gets harder the longer this goes, right? So if you had a vacation that you had to cancel, it doesn't mean you're never taking a vacation. So you can still talk about it. And what is it that you'll do? And my daughter, I just said to her, won't it be fun when you go back and you surprise people and you're so much better because you've been working out, right? So they just need that reinforcement and that picture of hope with the uncertainty. So here's a high five. Woo, woo, woo. Hey, huddle, woo, go green.
Are you guys recording this?
We are. Well, I can stop.
Are you